My wife was humiliated to death by 4 minors. They tied me to a chair, forcing me to watch the entire ordeal. After being caught, those beasts smirked, just having a little fun. Who knew they were so fragile? Legally, they would only be detained for a maximum of 3 years. Their parents gathered, crying foul, claiming they were just children. But my entire family had become ghosts. The Grim Reaper gave me 2 choices. Let go of my hatred and start a new life, or become a vengeful spirit and drag the perpetrators down to hell with me. I opened my eyes to see my wife's naked, desolate body before me. Her mouth was agape in a silent scream of despair, blackened, her teeth almost all ripped out. Her chest was covered in scratches, bites, and cigarette burns. Her entire body was scarred, swollen, and disfigured. She was a woman who cherished beauty. I never imagined she would leave this world in such a horrifying way. The forensic doctor, choking back tears, reported the autopsy results to the police. The deceased, Vivian, was 6 months pregnant. On the night of the incident, she was sexually assaulted, burned, and beaten by multiple individuals. The torture lasted 8 agonizing hours. A large area of subcutaneous fat on her body had been beaten into liquid, and the head injuries were not fatal. In other words, she was conscious when she was beaten to death. Forensic doctors had a special name for this kind of death: slicing without a knife. The police froze upon hearing the report. How could 4 underage children commit such an atrocity? But I knew the forensic results were accurate, because from beginning to end, those monsters tied me to a chair, forcing me to witness Vivian being tortured to death. That day, I worked late. The moment I walked through the door, I saw Vivian being held down by 4 brutes, stripping her clothes. Just as I was about to scream, they rushed me, knocked me down, and tied me to a chair. They gagged me. Vivian's face was already swollen from their slaps. She was on her knees, begging for her life. She pleaded that she was pregnant, about to become a mother, begging them to spare her. Leo, the red-haired leader, only grew more excited. They say it's even better when they're pregnant. I struggled in my chair, cursing, begging them to stop. The red-haired boy's eyes lit up. He told me, just watch closely. And don't forget to scream once in a while. It'll add to the atmosphere. What followed made me feel as if I had been thrown into a meat grinder, torn into 1,000 pieces. When I saw another male figure before my eyes, I finally understood. I had died too. My body was ugly and twisted. The rope wounds exposed pale, white bone. The forensic doctor finally untied me, but the corpse remained in its struggling posture. I died from asphyxiation while tied up, and a ruptured blood vessel in my heart and brain from overwhelming rage. Vivian's deceased soul rushed forward. She lunged at my body, but passed right through. Again and again, she tried to embrace me in vain. Only after seeing me, did she realize we were both dead. She threw her arms around me, weeping uncontrollably. I constantly tried to comfort her. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you, but don't worry. The perpetrators have been caught. I believe the law will bring us justice. At the police station, Leo was being interrogated. He looked disdainful. Seeing the policeman's angry face, he couldn't help but laugh aloud. Why are you guys so angry? When we left, those two weren't even dead yet. We can't be charged with murder. Who knew they were so fragile? The police officer slammed the table. Did you ever think about the consequences of your actions? Leo, far from being scared, glared back at the officer. Who are you trying to scare? If you're so good, just shoot me dead. The furious officer stood up, then sat back down, slamming the confession on the table. Do you think there's no other way to punish you besides execution? Leo raised an eyebrow, smirking. After noon today, I'll still only be 14. Not old enough, understand? You can't convict me. Isn't it just a small fine? Oh, coincidentally, my family isn't short on pocket money. The police officer was speechless with rage. Leo yawned leisurely. All right, officer, hurry up and release me. My mom's waiting to celebrate my birthday. Before he could finish, Leo suddenly shuddered, staring in disbelief. Vivian and I stood right before him. Having reviewed the interrogation transcript, I no longer held any hope for the law to punish him. I wanted to do it myself. Leo slammed the table in fear, trying to escape. The police officers, thinking he was just throwing a tantrum, mocked him. Now you're scared? It's too late. I roared, lunging forward, my hands gripping Leo's throat, but passing right through. It turned out that vengeful spirits couldn't directly kill people. Leo realized he'd had a close call and sneered. Damn it, you scared the hell out of me. Vivian suddenly floated up, circling the room. Instead of attacking Leo, she conjured a gust of wind, sweeping the confession notebook from the police officer's hands. The paper flattened out like a blade, slashing scars across Leo's greasy, pimpled face. Ah, murder! Leo covered his face, howling like a dog. The police rushed over to check. The wind immediately vanished. Leo shrieked, "If I die here, you guys are responsible." The two officers had no choice but to escort him away. Vivian and I chased after them, planning to unleash our fury and kill him. A man suddenly stood in my path. I thought I could pass through him, but to my surprise, he suddenly threw an iron chain that wrapped around both Vivian's and my necks. Your earthly lives have ended. Come with me. Vivian and I were bound by the iron chain, unable to move. We watched helplessly as Leo was escorted away by the police. Vivian grabbed the man's collar and screamed, "What are you doing?" "Let us go," the man bowed to us. "I am this region's Grim Reaper, here to escort you both to the city god's temple for registration." I replied, "Once my revenge is complete, I'll go with you." But the Grim Reaper firmly stopped me. Death is the end. The mortal realm has its own laws to punish your enemies. Let go of your hatred and reincarnate. "No," I screamed. Can't you see? Can't you see? The laws of this world are designed to protect underage scum. I want to reclaim justice for myself." The Grim Reaper didn't relent. I have no control over the laws of the mortal realm. But now that you are dead, you must obey the laws of the underworld. Souls who seek revenge before reincarnation will lose their essence. And that red-haired brat has over 90 years of life left. You cannot kill him now. The Grim Reaper pulled Vivian and me along. As I walked out of the police station, I saw a group of unruly parents arguing with the police. The plump woman leading them shrieked at an officer, her face fierce and bitter. If a child makes a mistake, just educate them a bit. Isn't that enough? Why lock them up? Release him now. The enraged officer pointed at the plump woman and snapped. Your son committed murder. The plump woman immediately pointed back at the officer, scolding, Hey, you lousy cop! How dare you speak like that? Has the court even convicted him yet? To say my son committed murder. The people behind her also started stirring up trouble. Be careful, or we'll file a complaint against you. I suddenly felt that this plump woman looked familiar. Her fierce expression was exactly like Leo's. She had to be Leo's mother. Leo's mother continued to cause a commotion. A lawyer with gold-rimmed glasses rushed over, urging them to leave. Once the police were out of earshot, the lawyer slyly said, We've just completed our investigation. We found out the deceased couple had no parents. They were orphans. The parents all cheered with excitement. Leo's mother held up the jade Buddha statue she wore around her neck with both hands and prayed, My children are blessed with great fortune and long lives. Now no one will bother us anymore. The lawyer remarked that for cases like this, orphans were their favorite type of victim. It made defending their clients so much easier. Once everything was settled, the parents would only have to pay for the funeral expenses. Leo's mother heard this and spat a mouthful of saliva onto the ground with disdain. Damn it, how unlucky. Do we have to be filial children and buy graves for those two poor devils? The parents standing next to her chimed in when they're cremated. Give the crematorium some extra money. When they're half burned, pull them out and bury them in a grave with bad feng shui. The lawyer quickly cut them off. That's enough. My concern now is someone exposing this online and affecting the children's future. The plump woman angrily stomped her foot, trembling all over. Isn't this an invasion of privacy? Anyone who dares to spread rumors will sue them to death, the lawyer continued. You can't sue. So, you must strike first. Just say that damn woman was a prostitute who caused a dispute by seducing minors for sex. Her husband then burst in, wanting to dance naked for them. The children only acted in self-defense. All the parents found this amusing. Let those two dance naked off a building. Even in death they'll be disgraced. Ha 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 ha. Seeing their utterly depraved demeanor, a furious rage consumed me. I lunged forward and possessed a tourniquet. The plump woman was patting my shoulder, praising, Attorney Kim, the children's innocence rests entirely on you. I laughed loudly, opened my mouth, and bit her plump neck. She instantly shrieked like a dog in terror. The Grim Reaper quickly pulled me back with the iron chain. Vengeful spirits lose their essence. Your future reincarnation, you don't care about it, do you? Who cares about any afterlife? I struggled desperately, wanting to bite her again. Don't you even care about your daughter? The Grim Reaper shouted. I froze instantly. The Grim Reaper pulled a thermos cup from his pouch. When he opened it, a fireball erupted. Then a moment later, it flew into Vivian's arm. The flame dissipated, revealing a child completely red, with flaring nostrils, burning red eyes, an agape mouth with broken teeth, making strange, eerie sounds. Seeing Vivian speechless and bewildered, the Grim Reaper quickly explained. Because this child died prematurely, technically, she is a heroic spirit. Among heroic spirits, she's considered the most beautiful. Look how those big fiery red eyes burn." Vivian embraced Lily and wept. Of course, our Lily is the most beautiful. When Vivian was pregnant, we had already named our child. Whether a boy or a girl, we would call her Lily. I didn't wish for her to grow up to be exceptional. I only wanted her to be healthy and happy. That day, after Vivian miscarried, it was Leo himself who reached inside and pulled Lily out. The baby was bright red, crying incessantly. Leo looked disgusted and threw Lily into the trash. Soon there was no sound. Her life was truly short. She never even got to be held by her parents once. But I never imagined we would have a chance to meet again like this. The Grim Reaper said our daughter was very fierce. It took a lot of effort to catch her. If she had been lost, she would truly have become a wild, wandering spirit. Vivian hugged Lily tightly and thanked the Grim Reaper repeatedly. Then she urged me to go make milk. The Grim Reaper said it wasn't necessary. Heroic spirits are nourished by their parents' vital energy. If they receive their parents' love, they will grow rapidly, and their vengeful aura will disappear. They'll look even more beautiful then. As he spoke, Lily had already cried, "Mama, Dada!" She truly looked much better. Vivian was so excited, she frantically searched for her mobile phone to take pictures and post them on her WeChat moments. Then she suddenly remembered she was dead, so she gave up. But she was content. Even though we are all dead, being a family together like this is good. She was always like that, always looking for the good in every situation. The Grim Reaper comforted me, saying, "As long as you let go of your hatred from your living life, I will definitely use my connections to ensure you remain a family in your next life. Being a ghost is like being human. You must look forward." Vivian embraced Lily with a joyful expression, her previous resentment long gone. "Let's reincarnate, husband. Not for us, but for Lily. We'll be more careful in our next lives." My heart ached. I truly didn't want those 4 underage bastards to be released like this. But our child was my weakness. As long as Vivian and Lily were happy, whether revenge was taken or not, what did it matter? So I agreed. I never realized how naive I still was. As dusk fell, I saw Juyong pass in the distance. The city god's temple was getting closer. In just half a day, Lily had grown to appear 6 or 7 years old and was happily sitting on my shoulders. Vivian clapped and sang along with her. My heart felt a strange warmth. If our family were still alive, this is exactly how it would be, wouldn't it? Suddenly, I felt a lightness on my shoulders and neck. Then came Lily's terrified scream. She was enveloped in a cloud of black smoke, slowly dissipating. I wanted to hug her, but when I reached out, I found myself smoking too. My entire body ached as if burned. Not just me, Vivian's body also dissolved into smoke. 1,000 times unwilling, she looked at Lily and me, screaming with all her might. "No, don't." I was stunned and felt utter despair. Why was this happening? A complete family had just been reunited. Why were we now vanishing into thin air? The Grim Reaper took one look, then quickly pulled out a yellow talisman and threw it towards us. I have incensed smoke descending to the yellow springs, hoping that wandering souls will no longer suffer misfortune and injustice. The yellow talisman burst into flames, emitting thick red smoke that circled in the air a few times, reuniting our family. Once recovered, Vivian, terrified, hugged Lily and me, fearing our family would be separated again. Why? I asked. The Grim Reaper cautiously looked around. Damn it! Someone dares to cast dark magic right before the city god's temple. The Grim Reaper explained, when a person dies, they become a ghost. When a ghost dies, they become dust. Dust becomes nothingness. Nothingness becomes a wisp. Ati, a wisp becomes invisible, and invisible becomes non-existent. Just now, your family turned into black smoke, meaning you had become dust. You would quickly turn into nothingness and eventually become non-existent. This is what people call losing your soul, never to be reincarnated. This was the most insidious curse. The Grim Reaper looked around and quickly spotted the caster. An old woman was squatting at the intersection ahead. Her face was ashen, and she looked annoyed and irritable. She was holding a pair of red-soled shoes, striking 3 paper effigies on a stone slab, gritting her teeth and shouting, "Lose your soul! Hatred to the next life! Lose your soul! Hatred to the next life! Lose your soul! Hatred to the next life!" An iron chain flew out and wrapped around the old woman's neck. Are your dog eyes blind? You dare to destroy the souls I'm escorting? The old woman recognized the Grim Reaper before her, and terrified, prostrated herself on the ground, bowing repeatedly. Lord Grim Reaper! Lord Grim Reaper, it's a misunderstanding. I didn't know this family was being escorted by you, the Grim Reaper asked. Who told you to come here? The old woman trembled as she replied, It was Mrs. Han. She's Leo's mother. My heart skipped a beat. The red-haired boy who killed my family was named Leo. The old woman continued to prostrate herself. Sister Han, said she, was hexed in core today, so she asked me to cast a spell to destroy this family's wandering spirits. Otherwise, if she lives, she wouldn't feel at peace owing a life debt. I'm worse than pigs and dogs. I deserve to die. Please. The Grim Reaper clasped his hands into a mudra and placed it on her head. For a few dirty coins, you dare to violate the laws of the underworld. The 50 years of earthly life you've cultivated? Today I will take it all away. The old woman looked as if she had just been condemned to death, staring at the Grim Reaper. Just for 3 insignificant wandering souls, you want to condemn me to death. The old woman stood up, glaring fiercely at the Grim Reaper. We both make a living between the yin and yang world. Don't push anyone too far. Let's see how long you can protect them. The Grim Reaper looked at her coldly, as if looking at a dead person. In 3 years, I will personally escort you to Avisai Hell. Get lost! The old woman laughed wildly. Is hell your family's business? Who knows which of us will die first? Just you wait. Damn it! I lunged forward, wanting to tear the old woman apart. Seeing this, the old woman turned and fled, disappearing in the blink of an eye. My rage seemed to reach its peak. They killed my entire family without paying for it, and now they bully our souls, spreading malicious lies about us online. Even now that we are ghosts, they won't let us rest. Vivian quickly comforted me. The city god's temple is right ahead. As long as our family can be together, no matter how deep the hatred, we can swallow it. This time, the Grim Reaper didn't try to persuade me as before. His face was gray, pale, and truly frightening. After a moment of hesitation, he said to me, "I'm afraid your entire family has been targeted by them." Vivian asked, "Isn't it enough for us to reincarnate?" The Grim Reaper shook his head with a bitter smile. "Don't you understand? What they want is for your family to lose your souls, never to be reborn. Only in this way could the life debt they owed the three of us be completely settled, and they could finally rest easy." Vivian still didn't understand. "We've all come to the city god's temple to register. Can that old woman still harm us?" The Grim Reaper nodded. "After registering, your family will go to the underworld, pass through the Yellow Springs, the Bridge of Helplessness, and the Terrace of Looking Home. They can strike anywhere. Every organization and law has loopholes. It just depends on whether you know them or not. The underworld is that dark too?" "I don't believe it." The Grim Reaper sneered and replied, "You're already this miserable. Why are you still clinging to illusions about this world?" Vivian trembled all over, her hair practically standing on end. "Is there no way for us to survive?" The Grim Reaper looked awkward. In truth, deceased souls have always had two choices. Let go of hatred and reincarnate into the 6 realms, or become a vengeful spirit and drag your enemies down to hell with you. I always felt that compassion could overcome hatred, but I'm afraid it won't work this time. The Grim Reaper pulled out a black card, a 7-day vengeful spirit experience card. "Would you like to consider it?" I almost laughed out of anger. "What's there to consider?" I reached for the card, but Vivian snatched the vengeful spirit card before I could. "I'll take revenge. You take Lily to reincarnate." "No," I immediately grabbed it back. "You're too kind-hearted. Even as a vengeful spirit, you wouldn't be strong enough. Let me do it. You take Lily and reincarnate." Vivian and I struggled over it, and finally, I managed to get the vengeful spirit card. But it was snatched away by a tiny hand. Lily clutched the card and looked at us. "I'll take this card, you two go." "No, give it back to Mama," Vivian screamed. Lily stubbornly shook her head, her eyes red-rimmed. "In your next lives, if you have another baby, you must protect them well." Seeing Lily trying to run away, Vivian lunged and caught her. "This child needs a spanking, doesn't she? Give it back to Mama right now." Lily was surprisingly strong. The two of them practically wrestled on the ground. I couldn't stop them. The Grim Reaper couldn't stand it anymore and quickly shouted for them to stop. Can you please listen to what I have to say? This is a family card. 2 adults and 1 child. So you must seriously consider whether to take it or not. To my surprise, at our first family meeting, we unanimously decided to become vengeful spirits. Before we set off, the Grim Reaper opened a crash course for vengeful spirits. Even though we were now vengeful spirits, we were still souls and couldn't directly kill people. So, our attack methods still followed the 3 skills of ghosts: allure, concealment, and intimidation. Although simple, they were highly effective. With good planning and combination, they could produce unexpected results. The only limit was one's own imagination. We went to Attorney Kim's house first. He was on the phone with his online troll army, discussing how to post details of the case. Yes, just find a few people to claim they slept with that woman. Then, alter her face, combine some screenshots and videos, and post them online. The sluttier, the better. Netizens love that stuff. The phone signal on the other end suddenly cut off, replaced by grotesque laughter. Attorney Kim felt something was wrong. See that? He turned around to see his phone had transformed into a giant, grotesque rat, squeaking loudly and biting his ear. Attorney Kim shrieked and threw the rat to the ground, only to find it had reverted to his mobile phone, its screen flickering. A chilling breeze from the underworld swept through, and our family stood before him. Attorney Kim first rubbed his eyes, then slapped himself twice. This can't be a dream, he shrieked, then ran towards the door. But as he grabbed the doorknob, he screamed in terror. What he was gripping was a snake. He desperately flailed his hand, and more snakes poured out onto the floor. The room was filled with them, their forked tongues flicking, slowly coiling around him. Attorney Kim, paralyzed with fear, dared not move. He knelt before us. Every injustice has its source, every debt its owner. I'm just a lawyer. I have an elderly mother above me, and young children below. I need to make a living too. Vivian shrieked. Then why did you help them defame us online? Why did you defend murderers? Attorney Kim replied earnestly, first, before the court delivers its verdict, you shouldn't call them murderers. You should call them suspects. Second, my clients genuinely didn't have the subjective intent to kill you. At most, it was accidental death. The boy only intended to rape, not to kill. If your husband hadn't resisted then, he wouldn't have suffocated to death. As for the miscarried baby, legally speaking, it's not even considered a human being. So how can you call it murder? Looking at Attorney Kim's righteous demeanor, I was speechless. How could he speak such inhuman words so calmly? Attorney Kim's expression remained serious. I'm just stating the legal facts. Vivian conjured a wind that blew into Attorney Kim's face. Damn it, am I here to discuss laws with you today? I'm here for justice. Attorney Kim was blown to the ground, clutching his face, laughing loudly. He grabbed a nearby snake and looked at it. See? See? I told you something was off. In this freezing winter, how could there be snakes? My heart was startled. It seemed our allure had no effect on him. Attorney Kim ignored the snake illusions. Ridiculous. I'm a lawyer. Am I supposed to face karmic retribution and demonic vengeance? You keep talking about justice, yet now you trespass into my home, threatening and intimidating me, even holding your own trial and demanding to kill me. What do you think you are? The king of hell? Or the Jade Emperor? He then cursed us. You're all crazy perverts. If you want to kill someone, fine. But don't insult the word justice. Now, dying don't radiate. Because law-blind people like you don't deserve it. Vivian and I rarely argue with anyone when we were alive. After hearing Attorney Kim's outburst, I suddenly didn't know what to say next. The Grim Reaper sighed beside us, like an unlucky coach, watching his team constantly lose, covering his eyes, unable to bear watching further. Oh dear, I can only help you too this much. Attorney Kim, seeing us speechless, became even more smug. He puffed out his chest and stepped towards us. Come on then. I just do what every lawyer should do, and yet I'm ambushed, avenged, and killed by you. Then kill me. Your whole family will be murderers. What makes you any different from Leo and his gang? Vivian's hair suddenly lengthened. She clenched her fists, trembling, but she didn't know what to say. She was an educated woman, incapable of acting against moral principles. Clap! Clap! Lily clapped her hands, smiling, and walked over to Attorney Kim. Uncle, what you said makes so much sense. Mama and Papa were too impulsive. Attorney Kim still stood tall, looking straight ahead. I'm only responsible for speaking the truth. Even if Luo Shang were here, he'd say the same. Uh-huh. Lily looked at Attorney Kim with admiration. You've been talking for so long, Uncle. You must be hungry, right? Attorney Kim's stomach suddenly growled. Lily looked into his eyes and said in a strange voice, You haven't eaten for 3 days, Uncle. You're about to starve to death. Attorney Kim's face immediately turned pale yellow. His legs went limp. Yes, I'm starving to death, Lily continued. I have the most delicious food in the world, Uncle. Do you want to eat it? Attorney Kim nodded frantically. Yes. What is it? Lily smiled. This thing is so precious. You can't buy it with billions of dollars. It's soft and smooth. Just one bite, and you'll feel it. It's fresh, juicy, and leaves a fragrant aroma in your mouth. Every taste bud will bloom like a flower, and your whole body will feel like it's flying. Attorney Kim listened, mouth agape and drooling, staring at Lily with a crazed expression. Quick, give it to me. I want to eat. Lily put on a demonic expression, wrapped her arms around Attorney Kim's neck, caressed his lips with her fingers, then slowly put her hand inside. I put it in your mouth, Uncle. Attorney Kim suddenly understood. He opened his mouth wide, slowly sticking out his tongue. His eyes wide with a strange look. Lily stepped back 2 paces and watched him. Well, are you eager to eat it? Attorney Kim nodded frantically, opening his mouth even wider. But just as he bit down, he suddenly stopped, his eyes wide with terror. Lily giggled, watching him. Bite it, with a wet slop. Attorney Kim bit down, without hesitation, fresh blood splattering all over his face. I winced at the sight. Blood flowed down the grooves of his lips. It was the first time I realized how much blood could gush from a severed tongue. That's right. You need to use more force, otherwise you won't be able to bite it off, Lily said loudly from beside him. Attorney Kim's facial muscles contorted. Delight, panic, pain, 3 expressions alternating. He used both hands to grip the tip of his tongue and bit down hard, finally severing it. The tongue in his hand still wriggled left and right. Attorney Kim, with a greedy expression, stuffed it back into his mouth, chewing with a chomp-chomp sound. Clap, 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 ta-ta. Lily started clapping again. Attorney Kim suddenly came to his senses, spitting out the chewed tongue. Huh! A shiver ran down his spine, and he began to vomit violently. He retched and wailed. Lily clapped and laughed beside him, tilting her head. "This tongue used to help you earn a lot of money, didn't it, Uncle? Everyone says a tongue has no bones, but many twists and turns. Your tongue must be very flexible, huh?" Attorney Kim clutched his mouth, writhing in pain. His cries sounded like curses, but no clear words could be formed. Lily giggled and stuck her tongue out at him. "Looks like you have a lot to say, Uncle. Are you still not convinced? Then tell me, which law did I violate? If you don't say anything, how will I know where I went wrong? After all, my whole family is law blind." Attorney Kim roared and lunged at Lily, but it was useless. He quickly passed right through her body. After 2 consecutive lunges, he finally collapsed onto the ground in despair. Lily looked at him with concern. "Don't worry. I just called an ambulance for you. You'll live. It's just losing a tongue, right? When you don't talk, you're quite cute, Uncle." Attorney Kim's eyes were bloodshot. He lay on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. The Grim Reaper walked over to him, continuing to comfort him. "Don't worry. Next year on International Workers' Day, you'll grow a new tongue." Attorney Kim looked at the Grim Reaper in disbelief, a look of shock on his face. The Grim Reaper continued, "Because that day will be the day you die. And the sins you've created with your tongue over the years are enough to warrant your tongue being ripped out for 800 million years in hell. Even if your tongue is torn out countless times then, a new one will always grow back." Attorney Kim shrieked in agony. "Oh!" The Grim Reaper led us away without a backward glance at him. Once outside, he patted Lily's shoulder in approval, then looked at me with a dejected expression. "See, that's what you call a ghost's allure. I give Lily a perfect 10 for this one." Next, we went to Kevin's house. Among the 4 beasts who committed the crime that day, besides Leo, there were Kevin and the 2 brothers, Chris and Mark. Attorney Kim had helped them apply for bail pending trial. The 3 of them were drinking at Kevin's house. Chris was intently rewatching a video on his phone. This video was recorded by Kevin when Vivian was being victimized. After their arrest, they hadn't mentioned the video. Now, they not only showed no remorse, but were rewatching it to relive the memory. Hearing Vivian's cries in the video, the 3 of them became excited. Chris said, "This is pretty exciting. How much do you think we could get if we sold it online?" Kevin snatched the phone. "Are you an idiot? If the police find it later, everything's over. Just watch it yourself whenever you want." Chris looked regretful. "All right, let's hurry up and do a few more rounds before my 14th birthday." The 3 beasts huddled together, continuing to watch. In the video, Vivian, originally despairing, closed her eyes, letting them humiliate her. Suddenly, she opened her eyes wide, stared into the camera, and shrieked, "Even in death, I won't forgive any of you." Chris dropped his phone in fright, looked up at Kevin, and instantly froze, giggling. The person they saw was no longer Kevin, but an incredibly seductive young woman resembling a Japanese adult film star. Because Vivian and I were standing behind Chris and Mark, covering their eyes. Through our hands, their gazes were enchanted. The Grim Reaper quickly pulled Lily outside. After all, what happened next was not suitable for children. Kevin saw Chris and Mark's lustful expressions and felt a chill. "Damn it! Don't look at me like that. It's disgusting." Chris grabbed Kevin's stinky feet and licked them. Kevin kicked his legs wildly in fear. His other leg was also caught by Mark. Both of them laughed obscenely and started unzipping Kevin's pants. Kevin snatched the wine bottle on the table and smashed it hard on Chris's head. The bottle shattered. Chris's forehead was covered in blood, but he only became more excited. "Wow, this is truly exciting." He lunged, quickly stripping Kevin naked, his hand fumbling between Kevin's legs. "Kevin!" Kevin shrieked in terror. "Are you sick?" Chris and Mark grinned. "Yes, we're very sick." "Auntie, come, save us." "You wouldn't want Uncle to know about this, right?" Kevin was originally quite strong, but Chris and Mark's appearance scared him senseless. Just as he was about to resist, Chris and Mark hit him, making him instantly dizzy. The boy lay limp on the ground, and Chris and Mark began to vent their depravity on him. After several cries, he started to sob. Finally, with an expression as if life held no more regrets, the boy passively endured their humiliation and torment. After repeated experiences of disgust, the boy's eyes became vacant. After it was over, Chris and Mark were still not satisfied. They grabbed a broken beer bottle and stabbed it into Kevin's slimy backside. After a heartbreaking scream, Vivian and I no longer covered Chris and Mark's eyes and appeared before them. Kevin recognized Vivian and me, immediately groaning and cursing. "Ah, you're really not human. I'll kill you." I looked at him with a sneer. "We died long ago. Now we are vengeful spirits." Kevin writhed in pain and began to cry. "Well, you're all inhumane brain perverts." Vivian laughed loudly. "I'm just returning what you did to me, and you can't even handle that." Kevin was so angry he tried to stand up, but his legs gave out, and he collapsed onto his knees. The wound on his buttock began to bleed, and something else. His intestines slowly slipped out. A foul stench suddenly filled the room. Kevin lowered his head to look, then immediately collapsed onto the ground in despair, motionless. I leaned into the boy's ear and whispered, "Don't be afraid. You're a minor. You won't be executed. You'll just have to live with a urine bag and a colostomy bag for the rest of your life. Enjoy the slow experience." Chris and Mark, whether from fear or disgust, vomited incessantly. Then they knelt before Vivian and me, begging for forgiveness. We're sorry. We were young and foolish. Please forgive us. We swear to spend the rest of our lives atoning for our sins." I sneered at the two of them. "Is that so?" The two boys shivered. "We swear to spend the rest of our lives atoning, to spend our whole lives atoning." Vivian still wanted to act, but I stopped her. "They're still just children after all. Let's give them a chance to redeem themselves." Leo's parents divorced when he was very young. The boy lived with his mother. In a suburban villa, Mrs. Han, Leo's mother, was putting on a show to welcome her son back. She had specially prepared a piece of red sandalwood wrapped in red cloth and lightly tapped Leo's palm 3 times. Once for warding off disaster, twice for dispelling hardship, thrice for forgetting worries and finding peace of mind. Then she sprinkled a little water on the boy, hugged him, and placed a glass of wine before him. Come, my darling, let bygones be bygones. A toast to the future." Leo picked up the glass, took a sip, and then bent his head to fiddle with his phone. Just as Mrs. Han was about to urge him to eat, There was a sudden knock at the door. When she opened it, she saw Chris and Mark. She was a little displeased and warned them, "My Leo has learned bad habits from playing with you guys. Stay away from him." Chris nodded. "Don't worry, Auntie. This is the last time we'll come looking for him." As he spoke, Mark held a dagger to her throat. Mrs. Han was so scared, she dared not speak. Leo was still engrossed with his phone in the room, completely unaware of anything unusual at the door. Our family slowly appeared before Mrs. Han, who was visibly terrified. "Why are you still here?" Vivian calmly looked at her. "Because we have strong lives. We weren't killed by the old sorceress you hired." Mrs. Han's mouth twitched slightly. She suddenly grabbed the jade Buddha statue she wore around her chest, facing us, and chanted, "Evil spirits, vanish." Vivian and I exchanged speechless glances. Her trinket was indeed very expensive, but useless against vengeful spirits. Mrs. Han immediately collapsed to her knees, looking distraught. "Oh dear, it's all my fault. I spoiled my son rotten. For the sake of us both being mothers, if you want to slash or kill, just aim for me." Vivian looked at her coldly. "That's exactly how I begged your son then. But what did he do?" Mrs. Han clasped her hands, pleading for mercy. "Oh dear, listen to my advice. Vengeful spirits who seek revenge lose their essence. Your whole family should go reincarnate together. I'll have my son adopt you both as his foster parents, give you a grand funeral, and burn incense for your family every day." I sneered inwardly, thinking she probably just wanted to find a sorcerer to curse us to death right now. Vivian's expression was calm as she sighed at Mrs. Han. "Yeah, alas, the hearts of mothers in this world. Do you really think your son can still be taught to be a good person?" Mrs. Han clutched at a straw, frantically prostrating herself again. "How can anyone be born bad? Don't worry, little sister. I'll teach him a lesson." Vivian nodded slowly. "All right, I'll give you one last chance." Chris handed Mrs. Han a stick, the very red sandalwood club she had used to welcome Leo earlier. Mrs. Han almost cried, but nodded, taking the stick and going into the house. Leo was hunched over, playing a game, when he suddenly saw his mother approaching with a fierce look, holding the stick. He quickly asked, "Mom, what are you doing?" Mrs. Han smashed his phone. "Learning bad habits, are we?" Leo instantly became furious. "Mom, are you crazy? It's just a game. Do you have to be like this?" Mrs. Han raised the stick and forcefully struck his backside. "Still defiant after committing murder and being so indifferent." Then she grabbed Leo by his red hair and forced him to his knees before us. "I'm so sorry. Look, my son knows his mistake now. Please forgive him." Leo looked at the empty air before him with a puzzled expression, for he couldn't see us or hear us speak. He stared at his mother. "Damn it, Mom, are you possessed?" Mrs. Han became even more terrified. She took the stick and hit Leo on the back several times, but it was only a faint, painless beating. Then she looked at us with a pitiful expression. "He's just an ignorant child. Please spare him." "I really can't bring myself to do it." Vivian smiled at Mrs. Han. "Sister, this child won't learn without a good beating. If you don't have the strength, let me help." Vivian possessed Mrs. Han, using her hands to grip the stick and bring it down hard on Leo's thigh. Leo never expected his mother to hit him so hard. He wailed at her. "What are you doing? Trying to kill me?" Vivian, speaking through Mrs. Han's mouth, replied, "Today I want to beat this beast to death." As she spoke, she gave Leo a brutal beating, each strike like a thunderbolt. Leo clutched his head, crying incessantly. He also grabbed the stick and started hitting his mother back. Mrs. Han's face showed unwillingness, but her body was out of control. She hit him while weeping. "Oh, my precious darling, you're breaking my heart." The more endearing the words, the harder each strike landed. Leo, seeing his mother sacrificing herself for a greater cause, quickly fought back without mercy, each move potentially fatal. "Is Mom possessed?" Then he saw Chris and Mark staring blankly at the door and quickly yelled, "Are you two dead?" "Come help," Chris and Mark nodded. From the kitchen, they grabbed a rolling pin and a frying pan. Mrs. Han snatched the rolling pin, swinging it wildly with both hands. Leo covered his head and grabbed the frying pan to fend her off. The two of them were like pounding rice cakes and mashing fish cakes, fighting desperately. After a struggle, they all collapsed to the ground. Vivian gracefully exited Mrs. Han's body. Mrs. Han, already plump, was now swollen all over. She groaned in pain and cried out to Vivian, "My son is miserable enough now. You should spare us. Why pursue us to the very end? Even if we die, your family won't live either." Vivian smiled at her. "The suffering you're experiencing now isn't even 1% of what I endured then." With a glance from Vivian, Chris and Mark immediately carried Leo to the dining table. From beginning to end, Leo had never seen our vengeful spirit family. He didn't understand what was happening and was still cursing Chris and Mark. Chris took out a large iron nail, placed it on Leo's leg, and hammered it into the dining table. Leo shrieked like a pig being slaughtered. "Damn it, you two bastards, I'll kill you." Next came an even more piercing scream, because Mark had also nailed Leo's other leg. Leo's mother wailed in agony, but now she couldn't even stand up. She could only watch her beloved son suffer. Vivian and I slowly approached Leo and revealed ourselves before him. After Leo recognized us, he struggled to beg for forgiveness. "Ah, mercy." I leaned into his ear and whispered, "That night I begged you the same way. But what did you do?" Leo's forehead was beaded with sweat. He stared at me with wide, terrified eyes. But then he started to laugh loudly. When he started to laugh loudly. "That night, I was doing your wife. You want me to respect you? I'd rather die than beg you for mercy. At most, you'll kill me. We're all ghosts now. Who's afraid of whom? Anyway, I had a great time with your wife that day. No regrets dying." "I'll make you furious to death." The Grim Reaper walked over to me and reminded me. When Mrs. Han gave birth to this scoundrel, she specifically asked a master to calculate the best time, the precise moment, for a C-section. He has a lifespan of 90 years, a life of great wealth and nobility. Even if you are a vengeful spirit, you cannot prevent him from living a long life. Leo laughed maniacally. "You hear that? Yeah. I'm destined for great wealth and nobility. And you a nobody. Think you can kill me? I shook my head. From beginning to end, I never wanted to kill anyone. I know you're very scared right now, which is why you're making so much noise. If you genuinely apologize, I won't let you suffer anymore. Leo was stunned, momentarily at a loss. Chris and Mark, beside him, cried and pleaded with him. Leo, it's true. They just want an apology. Mrs. Hahn shouted from the side. Son, quickly apologize. Try to earn their forgiveness. Leo quickly banged his head on the table. I'm sorry. I was wrong. What I did was worse than a beast. Tears welled in my eyes, and I nodded in satisfaction. Admitting your mistake is good. You're not a bad person, just blinded by sensory stimulation. You are intelligent, strong, and brave. If you use those qualities correctly, you will undoubtedly be a talented person. You have a long life ahead. You will marry your beloved, build a family, establish a career, and become a revered hero, a great person who changes the destiny of humanity. You will be very happy. Leo's face contorted in agony as he cried, snot and tears streaming down his face. A rare glint of sincerity appeared in his eyes. Uncle, I'm sorry. Uncle, I'm sorry. Today, I finally realized how beautiful life is. Before, I truly was a beast. But from now on, I will definitely live a good life. Chris and Mark quickly helped Leo sit up and immediately called an ambulance. The ceiling suddenly shook. The crystal chandelier hanging above the dining table fell, crushing Leo's lower body and Chris and Mark's arms. The three of them groaned in unison. No, let I shall. Perched on the glass chandelier was Lily. She sat there, smiling at them. From the moment she entered the house, she had used a gust of underworld wind to blow the chandelier. She looked at Leo's agonizing, crumpled, and hideous face. Listen carefully, you idiot. My dad forgave you, but he never said I would. I leaned close to Leo's ear and whispered, Since you've apologized, I won't let you suffer anymore. Actions speak louder than words. As soon as I finished speaking, I grabbed his right hand, picked up the knife from the dining table, and slowly moved it around his back. Click, clack. Hello. The knife slid straight into the gap between his vertebrae. After prying it open, I gripped Leo's hand, took hold of a portion of his spine, and pulled it out with a yelpy. I smiled and said, See? It doesn't hurt anymore, right? From now on, even if the lower half of your body is eaten by dogs, you won't feel any pain. Leo completely broke down, screaming in gut-wrenching pain. Kill me! Just kill me! No, we can't do that, Vivian said, smiling at him. You are destined for great wealth and nobility, to live to the ripe old age of 90 before you die naturally. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of your life. From now on, every day you lie in bed, you will only think about the sins you committed that year and the happy life you should have had. Vivian looked at the devastated Mrs. Hound. She no longer had to worry about her son rebelling or being uncontrollable, because until his death, he would still need her care. The reason her son turned out like this was entirely due to her failure in education. Mrs. Han looked at us with an expression that no longer cared for life. Just for revenge, you've dragged your whole family down to hell. Don't you see it's a loss? At least we enjoyed ourselves. What did you get in return? See you in hell. Even though the great revenge was exacted, I felt no joy, because our family would soon enter hell. Vivian, holding Lily, was crying and laughing, savoring her last moments. I felt boundless sorrow. I'm sorry for making you suffer. Vivian shook her head. As long as our family is together, any kind of life is the same. After vengeful spirits exact their revenge, they are dragged down to hell. So we no longer needed to go to the city god's temple to register. The Grim Reaper led us to wait under the sign for the entrance to hell. A train approached from afar through the thick fog. Each window on the train emitted mournful cries. Just the thought of going to hell was enough to terrify me. Vivian and Lily also hugged me tightly. The train drew closer. Whither was she? It sped past us. Hey, driver. There are still people who haven't boarded. But the train quickly disappeared. The Grim Reaper's mobile phone rang with a notification. He opened it and smiled. The system reports that your family has achieved humanitarian status. Come with me to the city god's temple to complete the procedures. Vivian immediately jumped for joy. Lily looked confused. Will they still be my parents in the next life? The Grim Reaper laughed and said, Of course not. This situation usually results in triplets. At that time, we'll see who comes out first to be the eldest. I'll come out first. I'll come out first, Vivian quickly explained. I looked at the Grim Reaper's expression and quietly asked him, honestly, when you gave us that vengeful spirit card, you already knew we wouldn't go to hell, didn't you? The Grim Reaper looked away with a serious expression. But that gesture was as good as an unspoken agreement. I found this utterly ridiculous. Are your underworld rules just for show? Oh, you shouldn't say such things carelessly. The Grim Reaper turned to me and said, The laws of the underworld are merciless. But of course, there are loopholes. He then whispered with a serious expression, Hell may be vast, but it cannot contain a family filled with love.